On today's programme, why NASA should search for ashes on other planets, accidental pourage versus accidental spillage, depressing news for data input clerks, podcasts that overdo their introductions, burger peer pressure in Boston, Massachusetts, a song for new listeners, judging a species by its skeleton, monkey nut snobbery, and my highly profound new theory about time, train tunnels, and Professor Stephen Hawking.
Hello, this is J. Edgar Case here. Whenever I am listening to fine podcasts, I tune into your head program because it's very clean.
Two monkey nuts walk into a bar. One of the monkey nuts straight away goes up to the bar, and he looks at the bowl of nuts on the counter, and he says, "Hello, bowl of nuts, how are you?" And the bowl of nuts says, "Oh, not very well, I'm afraid. I'm afraid we're earning a reputation because some scientific journal or some tabloid newspaper, I'm not sure which, several years ago, published some vague article saying that if you look at a bowl of nuts or unwrapped sweets on a bar counter, you're going to find 10 different people's urine on each if you examine them under laboratory equipment conditions." So since then, everyone's been looking down on us, and even though we're up high on the bar is up above everyone. It's up above, well above most people's waist level. In fact, it's up at there. Where would the bar be at? It would be at belly level, I suppose. Most people would sit with their bellies up at the bar, although they try to hide them usually in a social situation like that, so they'd probably maybe sit lower than they naturally would in such a position, but still they'd be quite high up, so they'd be looking, that's right, they'd be looking down on us nuts, even though they're quite high up and we're quite high up, they'll be looking down on us, but they're looking down on us now, both metaphorically and literally. I don't know which is worse, quite frankly, because when they look down at us physically, we can see up their noses. Thank Christ we're inanimate objects, and we don't have eyes, and we don't have brains to interpret any information that would come from those eyes if we had them. So I suppose, in a way, none of this makes sense. But what would you expect from Into Your Head podcast, which now comes out every Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday and Saturdays are the new Trice Weekly from now on. Anyway, hello and welcome to the show. We have a lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively booming to the seams with topics. We've got topics coming out of this old iTelephone rubber cover, which I got cheap on eBay after I destroyed the other cheap iPhone rubber cover by accidentally pouring paint on it. Well, I didn't pour paint on it. If I poured it on, that would imply that it was intentional. No, I accidentally poured paint on it. Can you accidentally pour something on? I suppose you can. If you're looking the wrong way, you think you're pouring it on something else, I suppose. But no, most accidental paint drownings of any object or person would be accidental. It'd be accidental. It'd be more of a spillage than a pourage. But no, don't let me take away any perception you may have that it's possible to accidentally pour anything on anything. It's completely possible, completely within the realms. Just, I would say, statistically less likely. Not that I have any particular data to back that up. You don't need data for everything, you know. You don't have to have a freaking Excel spreadsheet every time you say, I think it's raining. No, an Excel spreadsheet wouldn't help you anyway if the rain raindrops are falling exactly on the lines between the cells. I wouldn't fall into any data cells in the spreadsheet. Does that make any sense? It probably doesn't. Why would it? As an Excel spreadsheet, no matter what way you look at it, it's all ones and zeros. You can spend your whole week, if you're in one of those office jobs that I used to be in, where you sit at a desk all day typing stuff into an Excel spreadsheet. You can be typing numbers in there all day, but you should know, maybe you shouldn't know because it'll depress you and make you feel useless to the universe, but you should know that you should realise, what I'm trying to say is you should realise that everything you put in there gets converted into ones and zeros in the end. It's all binary, just like one of those solar systems where you have two suns and it's a binary solar system. They found a solar system with 4 suns last week. I didn't quite understand it myself, but as far as I could make out, it's a binary sun system with a planet, and then there's 2 more suns going around the planet. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. We spent ages trying to explain to the young people today that the sun doesn't go around the earth, it goes the other way around, and then the scientists come out and tell us about this place where 2 suns do go around an earth, or whatever you call it. Earth, it's not an earth, a planet, I suppose. A ball of gases and smoke and dust and muck and filth and dirt and ashes, possibly out if there was life. That's how you find out if there was ever life on another planet. It's very easy. Ashes to ashes, so you just look for ashes, as we're always being told. Even by the non-scientists, by the religious types, they all agree, even without the science, that it's all ashes to ashes. So if there was ever life on any other planet, all you would need to find to prove it would be the ashes. You say, oh, here's some ashes. That used to be a life. That used to be a life. I don't know how many lives now, but it certainly used to be at least one life, possibly more. Do amoebas have ashes, I wonder? An amoeba is a one cell. How many cells would you need to have before there'd be enough of you to create an ash? There's a question for you. Studio@hintoyourhead.com if you happen to know. Studio@hintoyourhead.com if you don't happen to know either. It's all the same. It'll be all the same in 100 years. We'll be all dead and buried and gone to America. Absolutely fucking fantastic. Anyway, there you go. What was I talking about? I don't know. I think I was saying that we've a lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to. Issues that need to be addressed. Topics. Topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. I've introduced the program about 3 fucking times now and said hello and welcome, and here's a short monkey nut bar story, and here's another hello, and here's what's coming up. I need to get my format sorted and stop be fucking about with and having 8 different introductions, turning into one of those other podcasts where some woman comes on and says, hello, before we start the show proper, here's a thing. And then she'll say, Alison Rosen, I'm thinking of, on the Adam Carolla network. She comes on and says, before we start the show, here's some stuff that forms part of the show. It doesn't really, because in another 5 minutes I'm going to say, hello and welcome to the show again. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. No, you can't be, get your format sorted. I say that as much to myself as to the rest of you, although not to those of you who don't have podcasts. You don't have to worry about the whole rigmarole of having a formatual sequence. It's like having a skeleton around which to base a program. That's how you figure out how you get a skeleton. It's the same with the biologist. They get out a skeleton and they have a look at it and they say, oh, I wonder what this was, and then they imagine some flesh on it, and they say, oh, there was a bit of flesh up there and a bit of flesh up the back, and I tell you, these are probably feet down here, and it's probably there may have been flesh hanging around all over the place, protruding, that didn't have bones in it. If that's the case, unfortunately we can't tell that from a skeleton, so we'll just assume that there wasn't. It's a 4-legged dinosaur, that's what it is, and as a result we assume the whole dinosaurs have 4 legs legs. They could have easily had 6 legs, but 2 of them had no bones in them. Has it ever occurred to anyone to think that? They probably see no bones when they look at the evidence, and they say, oh, that's something not to make bones about. Don't make bones about that. I don't know. I'm getting hoarse. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm getting hoarse. Horse has begammed and falling apart. I've got AIDS of the throat, or whatever you call it. Is that what you call it? That's what I call it. That's what I choose to call it right now. That's how languages are like sandwiches. You can change them as much as you want. You can have it your way. That's like to do with Burger King. Have it your way. Do you want one of our burgers, or do you want to go somewhere else? That's the best way to have it your way. You can have it. You can have one of our burgers and tell us how to make it, or you can say, I want to go into a Burger King one of these days and say, hello, I want a Burger King Whopper my way. And they say, certainly so, sir. What do you want on it? Do you want burger on it? No. Do you want cheese on it? No. Do you want lettuce on it? No. Do you want onion on it? No. Do you want garlic on it? No. Well, that leaves you with very little, sir. Here's an empty wrapper for you. That'll be €8.75, please. And you'll say, that's a rip-off. You're ripping me off. There's nothing in there, and you're charging me for it. What the fuck do you think you're doing, you cunts? And they'll say, well, sir, do you want to, is there anything else you want me to add to your non-existent burger? Because we went through all the options, and you had it your way. You wanted nothing on it. What do you want? Well, that reminds me. I was in Boston, Massachusetts several years ago in a mall, and I went up to a gourmet burger counter and I said, hello, can I have one of those burgers, please? He says, certainly, sir. What do you want on it? And I said, nothing. And he looked at me like I had 2 heads. I said, nothing. I want nothing on my burger, just the burger. Because I just wanted the burger. I didn't want to have to tell. I don't like having to tell people how to make my sandwiches and burger. I don't go, as a rule, I don't go up to sandwich counters because I don't like having to tell them. They'll say, do you want to say, yes, please, I'll have a sandwich, please. And they'll say, what type of bread, and do you want butter on it, and what will I put on it, and will I toast it or will I not toast it? I don't want to tell you how to cook my fucking dinner for me, you cunts. I'm not paying you for that. If I wanted to do that, I'd just sit at home and tell my cat how to do it. Might as well be doing that. But no, if I go into you, and anyway, I said, no, nothing on it, please. And he looks at me again like I have 2 heads. He says, are you sure? I says, yes. Ended up with a dry burger with absolutely nothing on it except the bread and the burger. It was absolutely appalling. Well, at least I didn't have to try and teach him how to make my burger, because I'd never ordered from a burger bar on my own in America in my life. I wasn't going to start doing it then, I can tell you. No, that's the way. There's more to life than stuff. There's more to life than stuff that's not stuff that you want. Only have the stuff that you want. If there's stuff that you don't want, avoid it. You don't have to do anything you don't want, such as, for example, succumbing to the peer pressure of having stuff other than burgers on your burger. By all means, have the bread. It's just to hold the burger so you don't burn yourself or get covered in grease. But no, even that you don't need. Just have the frigging burger. The burger patty, as you foreigners call. I don't call it patty. I have an aunt called Patty. Had an uncle called Patsy too. So no, I'm not going to start naming shapes of mince meat after my frigging relations. Have a bit of sense in me. Anyway, suffice to say, on with the show.
Into your head.
Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, fuck. Fuck this for a lar. Fuck this for a game of soldiers. Fuck this for pretty much. If you're going to fuck it for a game of soldiers or for a lark, I suppose you might as well just fuck it for any. That's vulgar. We're not having that on the first show of the brand new twice a week schedule. No. Fuck that for a game of soldiers. Anyway, suffice to say, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, You're thinking, oh. You're thinking, oh. You're thinking, oh. You're thinking, oh. Now you're thinking, you're basically just thinking whatever you hear in your earphones coming out of my head and into your head. Hence the name of the show. I can read your thoughts forever as long as you're listening to me. But it's when you're not listening to me, that's when I don't know what you're thinking. I hope you're thinking, oh, I better go listen to the next episode of Into Your Head, or I hope you're thinking, oh, I better go to intoyourhead.com every time I want to buy anything on Amazon and click through his Amazon links to help support the podcasual arts at no cost to me. Or I hope you're thinking, oh, I wonder, that's a song, isn't it? Run away, wonder, wonder, where she went away, and I wonder whether she will stay, my little runaway. That's the Travelling Wilburys. I may have got the lyrics mixed up a bit, but certainly the Travelling Wilburys, as covered by Queen and Paul Rodgers on their last and only collaborative album, A Little Runaway. Something goes something, I wonder why I something will ever try to something. My throat hurts. My throat hurts. Something. My throat hurts. That's probably not helping. Anyway, suffice to say, nothing. It suffices to say nothing. You don't have to be filling every minute of every day with sound. I suppose on the podcast it's different. You have a reasonable expectation, I suppose, of hearing sounds when you tune into this. Especially if you've managed to tune yourself into a podcast, presumably. But what was I listening to yesterday? Your man, Joe Rogan. He was going on about the idea that our brains are tuned into waves, and you can adjust your thinking by being tuned into other waves, different frequencies or different electric currents or something. And that brings to mind a thought: if you could tune your head into a Wi-Fi signal and get my podcast, you probably need to figure out some way to put the password in, I suppose. But apart from that, no, you could tune into a podcast then. But why would you want to? Would you really want frigging internet waves going into your brain? I certainly wouldn't. I don't want internet away. I have enough interference in my brain already, or all this crap going round in it I try to flush out at you. And probably all interference from this throatal illness here. I don't know. Anyway, hello. Once upon a time, there was a cat. There certainly was a cat. That statement stands on its own. Doesn't need any big long tail to back it up, unless you're from another frigging universe. You need evidence of there having once been a cat once upon a time. But no, I don't mean to leave it at that. I'm just saying I could if I wanted to, and it could stand alone. If this podcast was reached by some two-legged alien up in space, or any other amount of legs, he could probably manage it as well. Although I don't know, because I've been mollycoddled. No, not mollycoddle's not the word. I've been sculpted by society to believe that any number of legs other than two makes you different. They say, that fella has 8 legs, therefore he's different. No, it's not true. A person who has 8 legs is exactly the same as a person who has 2 legs. If you say otherwise, you're a bigot. You're an anti. You're an anti at least 6 legs extra bigot. You're opposed to 6 legs. Why you're able to pick and choose those 2 original legs as opposed to the other 6, which could be much better. If someone has 8 legs, that means they've been the victim of some cool accident, probably involving a nuclear nuclear leak or something of the sort that Spider-Man got into to get his powers. So it's a good chance that his 6 extra legs do quite cool things, and rather than the normal things that a normal set of legs would do. In fact, all 8 of his legs could be special. They could all be, they could be, for example, they could have tentacles, or they could have, I suppose there's nothing cool about tentacles. Something's not cool just because it sounds cool or obscure or weird. No, you don't go up to kids in the street and say, you're doing a new type of Class A drug. I suppose if it's new, it hasn't been classed yet, but it will be any day now. You don't say, that's a new obscure, soon-to-be Class A drug. That means you're cool. No, it doesn't. But I suppose having 8 legs could be cool. Depends on the circumstances. I'm not going to commit to it being cool just automatically, just for the sake of not looking like a bigot. Just because I look like a bigot doesn't mean I am. It just means I think. I have a little think. I think whether or not a person with 8 legs is different from a person with 2 legs is not a reflection on thinking about that. Is not a reflection on what my you know what I mean. You know what? You get the drift. I think you get the drift anyway. Let a drifter lift you. That used to be a phrase. It used to be on an ad. That's the second time in the week I've mentioned drifters, isn't it? There's a drifter bar. I think I mentioned it here last week. It's a bit like a Twix except crap. We won't go back over old territory there. If you want to know about the Twix, go listen to whatever episode it was. One of the last few episodes were very good anyway, and they've been getting rave attention. Had a big jump in the download statistics lately, and if you're one of the extra statistics, I'd like you to know that I don't think of you as a statistics. Well, not just a statistic. Obviously, I found out about you through statistics, so you will always be partly statistic to me. But no, I think of you as a new listener, and welcome to the show. You're listening to Into Your Head. I think you gathered that. It's not as if you join me halfway through. It's a frigging podcast, not a radio station. But no, if you're one of those new statistics, welcome. Welcome in here and welcome. Well, I said, welcome song. Maybe it will. You probably haven't heard one of my songs before. This is a welcome for the new statistics who have joined us recently. There's a text from my wife. I'll reply to that in a minute. Welcome to the program. You're a part of something special now. I think you've probably gathered that and you're trying to figure out whether it's good or bad. Don't judge me by this episode because I'm all hoarse and I don't think it's one of the better ones. Suffice to say, I'll just reply to this text if you don't mind. Here we go. That's sent. That shouldn't take too long because she's only down in the bottom floor of this house, just down the stairs. Shouldn't take. Anyway. You're a statistic. You're a statistic. You're a statistic up in my blueberry stats. That's stupid. Not one of my better songs, I have to admit. Although most of my songs are not among my better songs. My better songs are small in number. Because as we know from the new schedule, it's all about quality over quantity. Except today. Today is a bit of an off show. Don't worry about that though. Don't worry your pretty little head about the quality of the podcast you're listening to. It's not your concern. It's not your concern whether this crap is of any good. It's none of your business. That's a production issue. You just sit there and listen and wait for it to get good again. That's all you need to do. Leave the behind the scenes stuff. That's what I was doing. I got distracted there. I started that last segment as I've just realised from listening back to it by saying once upon a time there was a cat. I don't think I completed that point. I think I just went off on made some excuse about how it doesn't matter that I don't have proof that once upon a time there was a cat, because there's obviously going to have been a cat, just as once upon a time there was a universe. There is now. So at some point, unless it only came into existence this millisecond, there was definitely a universe somewhere, namely this one. Possibly other ones as well. I don't know. I'm not Professor Stephen Hawking of the Hawking Institute, and I'm not Professor William Shakespeare of the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I'm not, what else am I not? Well, what am I not? Let me list the ways, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to drive time backwards, can you drive time backwards through itself? If time is going forward, bear with me for a moment here while I arrange my thoughts, because this is very profound. I don't want it to sound like it's just some crap that I'm spouting out. No, I've just had this. If you think of time going forward as being a roadway, or perhaps a train tunnel. A train tunnel, I think, works out. If the train tunnel is going forward, and that's time, that's the pathway of time, and it's going forward, and it's a train tunnel with tracks in it. But then there's another thing, and time is going backwards as well. But the backwards time is a train, and it's going the wrong way through the tunnel, which I suppose is perfectly legitimate. There's places where there's only a single track, and they have shuttle trains that go back and forward. So time is the train, and it's going backwards through time, the tunnel. There's time the train and time the tunnel, but bear with me, I can explain this. But time the train that's going backwards through time the tunnel is actually one of those trains they have on the Channel Tunnel that goes from England to France. And those trains, as you may know, they consist of, some of the carriages anyway consist of big carriages that hold a car. You drive your car onto it. In effect, those train carriages are a tunnel for cars. The car drives into them and parks, and then the train goes into the tunnel. So you can have a car of time going forward through the tunnel of time, through the train of time. It drives forward into the train of time, and the train of time goes backwards through the tunnel of time. Is that anything near to what Professor Stephen Hawking was talking about? Because he had a theory about time once. I don't know if he still stands by it. He's gone back on some of his stuff lately, which I suppose is appropriate. He went forward through these thoughts with there's another very profound thought now. Professor Stephen Hawking used to, I've never read it, but I vaguely heard somewhere that he had a theory whereby if time is going forwards, but at the end of time, a whole turns around and goes backwards again, and we go through time backwards. Now, I was going to say something very profound. Oh, yes, he went back on, he had some theory recently that he changed his mind about. I don't know whether it was this one, but if he had a theory before and he changed his mind about it, that would imply that he went forward through time and came up with that theory, but now he's going backwards through time and he decided to go back on that theory. Isn't that very clever? I think it is. That's profound. I think we've turned this segment around, just like Professor Stephen Hawking has turned time around and turned his theory around. I can tell you, if I'm running my podcast in the same way that Professor Stephen Hawking is running his theories, then I can tell you I can't be doing too much wrong here. We'll turn this crap around, I can tell you, before next Wednesday's show.
If you would like to comment on any of the issues raised in today's programme, email us at studio@intoyourhead.com. Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener.
Help support this free podcast. Go to intoyourhead.com/tipjar.
Sit, Rhodey, sit.
Intoyourhead.com.